Mother of all stresses, isn't it? To be crucified on a cross, nails being driven into your wrists and it being nailed to a cross. And he said, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." He was calm, in full control of his senses. In the Vedic path too, in the Sanatana Dharma, there are numerous instances of great saints who have exhibited such qualities of forbearance, compassion upon those who are aggressors, power of forgiveness, and so on. And these saintly and divine qualities are found in such saintly people. And they have exhibited tremendous ability to withstand the adversities of this world. Many times other people out of envy may have acted inimically towards them, but they were never inimically disposed towards others. So ultimately, whilst we may talk about, I have done other stress workshops in the past many years ago, but I did not want to do that technical kind of approach now. I just wanted to give a general introductory kind of talk on the necessity of accepting spiritual ideals and spiritual ways of life, not just for relieving stress, but for achieving something that is far greater and far higher in life, in front of which removing stress becomes a very secondary thing. So we discover a higher meaning to life. We discover our own spiritual essence. We discover real happiness in our spirituality. The happiness that we are seeking outside and which is causing us unlimited pain is false happiness, according to all the religious literatures of the world. Cutting across religions, they emphasize this one point. So there is a dire need in the society today for spiritual education, spiritual awareness, so that people can lead wholesome, healthy lives, where qualities of love, forgiveness, compassion, brotherhood and sisterhood and so on between people can be revived. Nowadays we find people are quarreling with each other because their hearts are full of negativities. And if we adopt a spiritual way of life, where the heart becomes cleansed of these negativities, automatically the quality of life everywhere will become so much better, so much more positive. In spirituality, the most important thing is the company of godly people. I find this as a number one stress buster. When you're in the company of godly people and engaged in godly kinds of activities, then immediately your mind becomes so much calmer. Even here in Australia, at our temple, we have so many people who come and say, "When I'm outside, I'm just so stressed. The moment I come here, I'm immediately just so peaceful and calm. I don't want to go out, but I have to go out because I have to do my duties." So the company of godly people is very important. So again, if I were to use an acronym, I would say A, association. Association of the company we keep. That's very important. If we keep company only with materialistic people, beyond what we need to do at our place of work and for our social responsibilities, then our mentality and consciousness will also become like theirs. So we may have to keep company with materialistic people to some degree. That may be unavoidable. Even I have to do it. As I was telling you the instance of that young man who dropped the alcohol on me. But if we by and large try to arrange our life and our timetable in such a way that we can go to the gatherings of spiritual people, that would be very soothing to the soul and to the consciousness. Number 2, B. B is books, the spiritual books. We have to absorb our mind in understanding spiritual knowledge. That itself gives us so much solace. just reading this, imbibing this knowledge. Everything is based on knowledge. To be successful in anything, we need knowledge. Whether it's cooking, it's driving, or electronics, or software, or anything, we need knowledge. So spirituality also needs knowledge. And this knowledge is the perfect antidote to stress. When we understand our spiritual identity, we must understand the concepts of spirituality. We must thoroughly study it, just like we would study when we were in school and college, with the same intensity, scrutinizingly. Then we come to C. C means chanting. Chanting the names of God are a very powerful way of calming the mind. All religions of the world again talk about chanting the names of God. Whether it's Hinduism, it's Christianity, Islam, Sikhism, they all speak about the power of the names of God. And you will find holy people in all religions carrying certain beads, rosaries, they may call them by different names, which they move to chant the names of God. Such chanting can be done privately to oneself, softly, and it can also be done loudly, musically. We heard a very nice rendition of a particular divine song. It was very, very, very nicely sung. I must compliment you on that very nice song, and the pronunciation was also perfect. The singing, the melody and the intonations were all very perfect. So did you not feel something different when you were hearing that? If you were to hear instead a rock song here, the whole vibrations are different. But when you hear something that is holy, that is spiritual, immediately it has a very soothing and calming effect. So the word C implies chanting not just to oneself but also congregationally. When we chant to ourselves privately, that's called japam. And when we do it congregationally in the midst of many, that's called kirtanam or sankirtanam. So when we do that, we gather together at one place to sing and chant the names of God. Again, as I said, according to your religious faith, whatever that may be, that is also very, very calming and soothing. It is also an excellent and the ultimate actually stress buster. And D for diet. Even doctors now recommend that to ease the tensions of the mind, to ease psychological problems, and stress indeed is a psychological issue, one must control one's diet. I will not get into a lecture on dietetics, but suffice it to say, reverting to the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita once again, that foods which are in the sattva guna, in the mode of goodness, sattvic foods, are most nourishing for the soul, nourishing for our intellect, and most conducive to the development of peace, internal peace. Foods in the mode of goodness are typically grains, fresh foods, vegetarian foods, fruits, nuts, milk. Foods in the mode of passion, rajasic foods, are those that are very spicy, very chilly and so on, which induce passions. The word passion itself is very self-explanatory. And these foods make us passionate. And finally, there are foods in the mode of ignorance, which we call tamasic foods. Tamasic foods are those that are stale, that have been stale for many hours. Food is supposed to be eaten fresh unless it is raw. And products of violence are also tamasic foods. Even medically, it is established that when animals are killed, then certain hormones are generated at that time. It mixes in the blood, and then we actually imbibe some of those vibrations when we eat that kind of food. And in any case, it is always wiser to abstain from cruelty to other living beings. A mind that wants to be peaceful at heart should avoid inciting or performing violence to other living beings, because it goes against the principle of kindness and compassion, mercy, love. So these foods also induce certain other baser instincts to arise. All forms of intoxicants are also tamasic foods. And we know how much difficulty in life is generated because of substance abuse. And nowadays it is increasingly happening. In the Western countries it is rampant. And in India you will not believe how rampant it is, especially amongst the youth. Unless you are very closely in touch with India. In Punjab, practically the whole state of Punjab is ruined because of the addiction for young people in drugs. In big cities like Mumbai, the youth is completely, a large section of the youth, and even those who are not so young anymore. We have so many famous people in the world who have died of this. So these are all tamasic foods. Despite all the success, there is complete misery in life. So what is the price of such success? So real success has to be defined in spiritual terms, not only in material terms, because material success is failure. Because with death comes ultimate devastation and destruction, ultimate humiliation and defeat of all our plans, all our ambitions, all our achievements. But spirituality helps us to transcend that, to go beyond death, to another eternal existence, which we may not believe in right now, which we may not have faith in right now, but at least if we open our minds to theoretically speaking about these things and keeping an open mind to understanding this, then it can go a long way in leading a very meaningful and purposeful life and attaining success of life actually. Otherwise, as I was saying earlier, what is the use of minimizing success when your life has no meaning? Minimizing stress, I beg your pardon. If the life itself has no meaning. So life well lived